So, what were we doing? You want to go back and refactor the Switch extension? You should add me to the repo. And there was one thing. So I do like your extension, by the way, because then the people that I want to know when, I want to see when they're live, specifically, right? The people that I'm usually hanging out with, like Foxy and Jake and Marksy and Mushroom Goblin and a couple others. I like that, it has at the top of the follower list, your favorite people. But it would also be cool if you could go to the follower page, the page where you see everyone you're following, and you can see who you favorited, and you can favorite from there. Maybe that's even, if you'd be interested, that's something we could work on stream. Seems appropriate. Yeah, you created as I watch mostly tiny streamers. Usually miss them as they were too far down. Yep. That is the problem. Because, I follow people that, have like hundreds or thousands of concurrent viewers. And I'm interested in what they're doing, and I watch those sometime. But I, especially these days, really like to hang out with people that are new streamers. Hydrate. All right. Also, I changed it so that there is a cooldown on the hydrate reward, Alex, but I'm sipping. Specifically because I never added a way to visualize whom is on the favorites. Usually just went into the console. Sure. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, you could just look at your browser store, right? Opera GX has side panel and it shows everyone on. Well, I'm happy with Firefox. And this extension that Brainless has supplied me. Well, I was trying. Yeah, exactly. Well, there is a limit on how much water I was going to drink, which is just, you saw on my stream on Friday the glass carafe. Carafe? All love, yeah. Yep. Well, Brainless's extension does the same thing, but you don't have to use Opera. Yeah, is that an extension, Foxy? Or is that built into Opera GX? Alright, so I guess I should work on this code, huh? That's why we're here? Or we could just be here to chat. Or why not both? Let's see. So we do some stuff here with state, right? We can do that. We can look at the same thing over here, right? To figure out what to do. Just copy paste. So we need the task API URL, and I think do we use the task API external URL? We must. Oh yeah. That's what we return, right? So we need both. And we can also update the struct. So the struct represents kind of what is the state of this application, this service. So we want these things. We want all of these things. All of the things in our state. Cool. And then there's also some imports that we need. Task. Where are we importing task from? Task. Oh, are we? Oh, we define it here. Do we want to have a? Nah, it's just a struct with a single field. Let's just copy paste it for now. It's part of Opera GX, along with TikTok, Discord, music players. Yeah. Really, Alex, tell us how you feel. I like it. I'm happy with Firefox, and with the extension that Brainless sent me, I am satisfied. All right, so what do we? Oh yeah, so if we explicitly say request : client, we don't need to add a use for it. All right, what else are we missing? Right, so now we have to add the initialization of app state. Yeah, letting it out helps sometimes. All right. Okay. So this maybe will make all the errors go away. Oh, right. So in Rust, so like when we were working on the front end, for those that didn't know, when we were working on the front end stuff earlier, TypeScript, JavaScript, we were using the package.json file to list like all of our dependencies, all of the third-party stuff out there in the world that we were using. For Rust, it's the cargo.toml file that we use to list what our dependencies are. So what are the third-party packages that we want to use in our program? And so I guess we're not. We don't have that as a dependency yet. So let me go over here to the cargo file here. Yeah, and then copy this into here and save. We do have a Redux here because we're kind of on an older version of Axum now. And we probably want to upgrade at some point, but I'm not in a rush. Alright, so now if we save, so we have not added the state as a parameter to our function. So as I recall, yeah, okay, so state needs to be before we start parsing the JSON body. Hard decision to make a new GitHub account or change your handle. What's wrong with your handle? Is it? Okay. That explains. So there is a URL in the extension. I assume maybe you made that profile private. But that's why I was getting a 404 when I tried to go there. Alright. So. Alright, no more errors. Ooh. Just make another GitHub account. That's allowed, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, like in the manifest for the extension, there's a URL to GitHub. But when I went there, it was just a 404. Which was interesting. I didn't know that you could make your user private. So maybe it just doesn't exist. Anyway, I think so. This should be good, except for the part that the service is not going to start. Let's actually see that. If we docker compose up -t -build, and we're doing the silence detection API. Yep, that one. Was it right arrow? There we go. Not worried about me knowing, by the way. Just the extension is published. You can't have a link to that repo. Well, there you go. Now you know. Past you, I would assume, put that there, and you yeah. All right, so this is going to build, hopefully, and then it's going to update the container. It's going to restart the container with the new image, and then it's going to fail. Why is it going to fail? Well, we just added a bunch of things where we're trying to read environment variables that shouldn't exist, I don't think. Let's hide that while we, oops. Why? Okay. Control there. Okay, got it. So in the transcription API, we added these environment variables to tell it how to like talk to the other services and all that. And I'm pretty sure we have not done that for silence detection API. So we can just copy paste and then fix the what's wrong with this. You also just realized the extension is public. Oh. How many people are using the extension? You mean if I were to go to the Firefox extensions, I could search for it? Alright, so I think we just need to change where it says transcription API to say silence detection API, and that should be good. Oh, the repo? Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Hey, Jake. I was talking about you earlier, and your the fact that your transition has a sound effect and mine doesn't. How's it going? Do you have those SQL questions that you wanted to ask? You might have put the wrong repo in the manifest. Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. Aha, apparently that sound effect was killing. Nah, it wasn't that bad, honestly. You didn't even realize it had one. I think it was fine. It is a little staticky when it started, but I think the main thing was because you were going back and forth so many times as you were setting stuff up, it you know, the repetition really made it stand out, made it really noticeable. That's my opinion, anyway. Other people can have other opinions. Because I think if you're not expecting it, and you hear the transition, you might just kill the sound. Okay. I mean, I think it's cool to have kind of a sound effect to go that matches the transition. But you might not want the little staticky bit at the beginning. But I think if you don't know that it's coming, and you're like, your brain is just like, oh, there's something happening, rather than having a chance to really notice it. Yeah, just I'll send it to the bot or something. Alright, is the build done? Nope. Alright, we're waiting for the build, as we do. I did order some more RAM since the last Sunday stream, because I seem to have run out. We started swapping. I think that was last Sunday. So I got some more RAM, so I'm up to 64 gigs from 32. Making sure to hydrate. Trying to catch up on all those redemptions from Alex. I did put in the stream title Q&A because people do that anyway. And I want to encourage that. And I think, I don't know, I'll have to figure out how to make that clearer, right? And I don't know, just that we're working on a project, right? This project, and you know, we're using these specific languages and doing this sort of thing. But I guess kind of all topics, well, in the context of this stream, all programming topics, all software engineering, computer science-y things are fair game. Especially when we're just sitting here waiting for this build to happen. So on the front end side of things, how is this going to work? Since we're waiting for this build to happen anyway, how is this going to work? So we have the transcription thingy here, and we have these buttons to start transcribe, check status, and load results, which we got working, I think, last stream or the stream before, and the last stream we worked on the UI. Do we want to add, I think we have to basically have another tab for the silence detection. Maybe it could be called like audio. Now I'm second guessing myself, thinking about like, we do have timestamps for when I'm talking, right? So could we determine the start and stop of the episodes based on just the transcript? Like, hey, I didn't say anything until 5 minutes in, maybe that's the start. And then we should see like a break at about an hour in. Where is there a long pause? Yeah, here we go. So 56 to 58. So there should be like a 3-minute pause somewhere in here. So the issue is going to be with this is that the transcript is going to split the break, or it's going to like like here's the break. So I said some stuff and there was a bunch of silence, and the model that's doing the transcription doesn't really handle silence that well. So the silence, it just became a bunch of thank yous. For like 3 minutes and some change. So we're not going to have something where, oh, the transcript just stops and then there's a period of time between that and the next segment. I don't think this works like that. Okay, so I think we're still on the right track then to like look at the audio for silences. Yeah, Stage Fright made something up. I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that a large language model is a model that, you know, it has a bunch of word tokens. It's what it's trained on. So you ask it to do something, it's going to like, it's not going to do nothing. Sometimes it, I think the filtering and stuff will be like, oh no, there's nothing good here. But generally it's gonna do something. Like if we look 2 hours into the transcript, we should see something similar, I think. Where 155, 156. Scare command. Like probably I could just search for BRB. That's an hour in. Thank you. Okay. Usually I say BRB right at the when the break starts. Appreciate the follow. The break serves a couple of purposes. Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 6. Oh, here it is. So here's where the break was here, right? Oh yeah, look. I'll be back in just a few minutes with some more. Thank you. All right, I'm back. I'm pretty sure I did not actually say thank you like half a dozen times. Anyway. Hey, look, the build's done. Alright, so... I think this might actually work because I updated the Docker Compose before it got around to doing things. Let's see. Back to Docker. Back to Docker. And then we want to look at the silence detection. Why don't I see it? Why is it not here? Stream ingestion API, but where's the silence detection API? Probably should not have said build. Well, this should be a lot faster now that we've recently built this. Oh, and I think I understand why kind of builds are a little slower than you would want, because we are doing caching of layers, but the caching, even though there's overlap, there is separate caching per service. So do we have a there we go. Silence detection API. Hey, it started. Awesome. So now, if we go back to Postman, we should be able to call detect. And then we don't pass a cursor. Does this work? Okay. Accepted. Got a yeah, we created task number 24 there. All right. So then in Redis, which we've not looked at today, but in Redis we should see task 24's data as soon as that comes up and I bring it onto the right screen. There we go. Filtered by key. Task 24. Okay. So it's processing, it says. Can we refresh? Nothing yet. Let's check the Docker. There we go. We are seeing activity. Maybe that's good. A wild bronzer appears in chat. So the silence detection API, for those that either weren't here for it or who have forgotten, basically we're using a command line tool, ffmpeg, to look at one of the audio tracks in a set of videos, or rather, for each of the set of video files. I should update at some point. Each of the set of video files that we told it to process, which is that payload right there, it's scanning the video file. It's looking at one of the selected audio tracks, track number 2, which is the one where I'm talking, and it's looking for areas of relative silence, right, to identify, hopefully identify where I'm talking and where I'm not. And then what we should eventually see is we should see some data here. Yeah, we should see some data here. There's task 24. And the structure, there, oh, okay. Let's try that again then. Task 24. All key types. Search. Do I need to have like a star? Oh, I do. Okay, cool. So we have some data. There we go. So if we look at the hash again, yeah, complete. So the task completed. For each of the video files, we ran ffmpeg, or yeah, I think it was ffmpeg, with the filter to find areas of silence. So what this is going to tell us is that at the beginning of the first video, there was like 5 minutes of silence because I generally will start the stream about 5 minutes before the time the stream is scheduled. And so I'm not talking during most of that usually. Although now I've ruined that because I started actually chatting with people before the actual timer ends. But that's okay. We're just gonna we're gonna accept it for what it is. So, all right, we got an API. Now we need to work on the front end. Just stuff wrapping up there. Cool. We're gonna work on the front end and get it to be able to call into the task API and this other stuff and show the information in the front end. So back to our front end. And I think for now, we're just going to focus on stuff inside of the streams resource in the front end. So basically where we've been this whole time working on the transcript and the video clips. We'll add another tab here called, maybe I'll just call it audio. We might have other things besides the silences here at some point, but I'll just call it audio. Like for instance, we might want to do things besides just looking at the speech, like the voice audio track. We might want to look at like the game audio track in some cases and identify where silences are. And then the next step after that is going to be to figure out how do we break the stream recording out into episodes. I have a vague notion of how that's going to work, but let's do something first. Okay. So we have, let's go to the edit component. So the edit component is basically that whole form and all the tabs along the top, right? So we have a summary tab, a video clips tab, and a transcript tab. And we're gonna add a fourth tab, not called metadata. I think I said I was going to call it audio, so we're going to call it audio. And so we're going to do something just like this, except instead of it being a stream transcript input, it's going to be a stream silence detection input. Yeah. Yes. Now, yeah, I think that'll be good. And then the source is going to be a new field called silence segments. I think that works. And the task URL field name is going to be silence detection task URL. Now, what are you unhappy about? Oh, right, so we didn't copy the ending tag, apparently. Whoopsie. And of course, this component doesn't exist yet. So we can, the next logical step is to import the thing that doesn't exist yet. That's gonna error, but that's fine. And we can create a new file for the new component. This will be a TSX file because it'll be TypeScript plus the JSX syntax. And now this is about where I want to start thinking about how we can refactor out the common bits of this component. We can start thinking about that. I may not actually do anything yet, but I do want to think about that, right? So there are some things here that are going to be very specific to what this component is doing and what the other component is doing. But there are some things that are going to be in common. And I think the in common things are these buttons to trigger the job, to load the results from the job. And we started to do that because we have this async result loader component that we're using. All right. So we have this component. Where does this component live? I think just in this file, right? Here it is. Can we just take this component and put it in a separate file so both of our new components can use it? I think so. I don't think there's, like, even right now, anything specific to, like, we've already made this generic by taking the task URL field name and the source. As long as we're using it in the context of like a React admin form, should be good. Now, is it just this component that uses this type? I think so. Looks like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, and we probably don't use the segment. Now we do. Okay. So this interface, hold on, music is still loud. Oh, and it's over. Of course. So the issue that I'm seeing here is that the task does have some data, but the segment type yeah, I liked the music. It was just it's so challenging because you'll get some music just is more distracting than other things, and trying to keep audio levels good is hard. Anyway, distractions. So this segment is really about the transcript segments. So what we want to do is we want to have a task type here that we can use that is agnostic to the specific kind of data that we're passing around. Now, the way to solve that is with using a type parameter, right? So instead of having, oh, this is a task and it's always it's always a segment, the first thing we should do is we should rename this interface, this type. So if we go over here to refactor and we document using Copilot. Anyway, we should play around with some of these Copilot refactoring things. So I'm going to rename this though. Why? Oh, it's just F2, isn't it? F2. You gotta head to the train station? All right. Thanks for lurking. I recall you said you're gonna pick someone up. Hope you have a good time. So we're gonna rename this to transcript segment. So that it's specific. And then we want to make the task interface more generic, right? So we're going to call this T, as is tradition. And so instead of this being always a transcript segment, it's an array of transcript segments. It's going to be an array of T, whatever T is. Now the problem is that, well, we don't know what T is here, and we don't want this component to know what T is, like what kind of task it is. So we can fix that though, because we can make the component take a type parameter. Not like that though. Where does the T go? I think it goes. Where does it go? Can we do that in this? So here we go with live music again. All right. Where can we put the Can we not put it there? No, that's not valid. Where does that go? Or do we have to... Let's do this a different way. So this is a function, right? All of this is a function. And what we're doing is we're creating an anonymous function, and then we're assigning it to async result loader. So we could express this a different way, right? If we just say function this, like that, and then we get rid of the arrow there. There we go. And then we can put that type parameter, t. And it says we never use it. Well, let's fix that. Let's use it. So task will be of type t, which is whatever async result loader is passed. And then, so inside of here, instead of referring to transcript segment, we refer to t. Now, where do we refer to async result loader? Here. I'm surprised this is fine. I think this is... interesting. Why do we not care that nothing actually tells us what is inside of task? I guess because we always just set data, and it's an any. Okay. And then we say, hey, task.data is okay, right? Because we've said it's of type T, and now we're assigning it to something that's of type T. And then this stuff doesn't care about the type. Okay. So that is all okay. Now, let's take all of this. Can we do a refactor here and move it to a new file? Move to a new file. All right, and it handily even named the file after the name of the function. And it should have also added an import to the top of this file. There we go. I do prefer to use a default export. So we'll not accidentally add the wrong character. There we go. And we'll export defaults. There we go. Now, the whole point of doing all that is so that we can, in our new component, what we're going to do, we're just going to take all of this, we're going to copy, we're going to paste, and then everywhere where we say transcript, we're going to say silence detection. Now, I will make completely clear that there's still probably things that are in common between the component that we just copied and the one we're creating as a copy from the old one. There's still things that are probably in common that we might consider further refactoring to like not have duplicates, but I think it's better to wait until we see. We'll probably make a few other variations of these for other places. It's better to kind of see how that evolves, how the use of the different things within it evolve before we commit to trying to make, to spend time to try to make some generic thing that works everywhere for every use case when we don't even understand all the use cases. But yeah, find and replace is great. So there we go. So now this is the stream silence detection input. Now it's still wrong. So we have a silence detection segment. And we have input props. All of that's good. There's no text for the silence detection segments. It's just start and end, as I recall. So updating that type then means other places that use that are wrong. Hey, Ninja Juice, how's it going? Good morning, welcome in. How has your Sunday morning been going? I don't even know. I mean, presumably we're going to have editing for the silence detection segments. I don't know what that's going to look like, but what I do know is that we don't have text. So I think I'm just going to take out the text part of this, and we'll go back and figure out how editing is going to work. All right, so like we have a buffer here. We don't need that. No camera today. Yeah, I decided, well, it's interesting. So when I started streaming, it's not quite been a year. I started streaming at the end of March of last year, and I didn't have a camera until like the end of August. I mean, I had one, but I wasn't using it. Are you getting ready for Super Bowl? Nice. But when I bought Starfield, I wanted to do like an unboxing because I shelled out like $300 for the Constellation Edition, which it's not a regret, but is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, we don't need these right now, so I'll just remove them. But anyway, so I started using the camera for streams, but I decided then that I didn't really feel up to being on camera when I was doing these coding streams in the morning, because I'm starting at like 8:30, and it's one less thing. Is it good? It's not bad. I got through kind of to the point where what I've heard is that it's supposed to be good. As you get into the... I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but I think in a lot of games you get to a point where it feels like, oh, this is the end of the game. And what I understand is the idea with Starfield is that point is where the game actually starts. And that's like, what, 80 hours in or something? How many hours did I have in Starfield? Where's Steam? Oop. So I do want to go back to it at some point. There were updates, 59 hours. 59 hours in. And I do want to go back to it at some point. I just don't know when. One of the nice things is that I started with the last stream on Friday, having people in the Discord, which I've mentioned several times, so let me link it as well. In the Discord, nominate games for Friday streams. And then we do a poll. When I go live on Friday, we do a poll, and we take the nominees, and then everyone there gets like 10 minutes to vote for what I'm going to play that day. And so maybe Starfield could be something that comes back that way. You know? Otherwise, like the Monday and Wednesday streams are kind of booked up until I get through those games. So, might be a while otherwise. Okay, so what's red now? We're probably importing something we don't use anymore. Yeah, there we go. Don't use text field. All right, so we made all the errors go away. That's what we want. All right, and so now this is all hooked up, but it's still not gonna work because we need to do some. Do I play BR games? What is a BR game? Oh, Battle Royales. So like Fortnite and stuff. I hadn't really... I mean, when Fortnite came out, I checked it out a little bit, but I hadn't played it. It was actually Marksy that I started seeing more Fortnite stuff, and I actually played a couple of games back in December, but yeah, I don't know. And then Marksy stopped playing Fortnite. and I have not had the time, but I've watched a good amount of that, and like PUBG back before that. I assume that's the kind of thing you're talking about, but that's not something I've really done on stream. A lot of the stream games focus around like base building or space related things, or you know, the coding streams. So like before we started playing Mind Over Magic the last couple of Fridays, we were playing Oxygen Not Included. So that kind of style of game, and then some Starfield, some Cyberpunk, lots of modded Minecraft. Been doing modded Minecraft on Mondays since I started streaming. Every Monday is modded Minecraft Monday. And then the coding streams. The first thing I ever streamed was actually Hogwarts Legacy from my Xbox. And Bannerlord, yeah, MMM Day. Red Alert. Is that the game that I'm thinking of? Like Red Alert 2? Yeah, Command and Conquer. Yeah, long ago. Long enough ago that I don't have solid memories, but I do remember that. Yeah. Okay, so right. To actually hook everything together, right? So we just did the front end component. We got the silence detection API stuff going, but now we need a place for the data that we get from the silence detection API to go. So that needs to be stored along with the stream information. And so you can see here my search. I just searched for transcription segments. Transcription segments. That was the thing we added before to store in Postgres, along with the rest of the information about the stream for the transcript results. So we're going to do the same thing, but for the silence detection results. So we're going to do the same thing. The first part of that is going to be to add the SQL migration. Let's imagine that I knew how to do that again. So let's Control R. Let's see. What if I search for migration? Okay, that looks promising. Control R, revert, help, undo. Here we go. So here is a command that I ran before that runs our diesel CLI to generate a migration. So this creates some files that keep track of how we're changing the database. And I just need to change this to be like add silence detection info. So I think before I did like multiple migrations, which you don't need to do. I did one to add a field, and then I was like, oh, we need another field, so I did another migration. You could do a bunch of stuff in a single database migration in terms of adding columns or changing types or adding indexes or removing indexes or even migrating data between tables as part of that. You could do all that stuff. So what this is going to do, I suspect we're not in the right folder. Let's just try running it. Yeah, okay. So CD, I think it's all in CRUD app is where we have that stuff. So I'll CD into there and run that command again. There we go. And it just creates 2 SQL files, right? And what we'll do is we'll go over to CRUD API, migrations. So we have a new folder. And your SQL goes here. And what we'll do is I think we should be able to... oh, I did add them in one go. I could have sworn I remembered it being in like 2 migrations, but I guess not. Or maybe I did like an up and a down migration. Anyway, doesn't matter. Point being, I should just be able to copy this and paste it over here. And this is going to be silence detection task, I guess. Let's see, where... So let's hide the terminal. We just need to make all the names line up. It's like Foxy was saying before about spelling. The spelling's not important as long as all the spelling agrees. Of course, the thing is that a lot of the things you do in modern software, engineering, development, whatever word you want to use, is about using other people's components, and then their spelling matters. A famous example of that is, I think there was a typo in a document describing the HTTP protocol. So the referrer header, I think referrer is supposed to have a total of 3 R's, or is it 2? Either way, in the documentation, it's spelled the wrong way, and so in a lot of places you just have to use the wrong spelling, or it doesn't work because everything else uses the wrong spelling because that's what the standard says. So basically we have instructions for modifying the database, modifying the streams table. So the funny thing is here I'm actually doing some SQL, and Jake was like, oh, I have some SQL questions for you, and now he's not here anymore. So, oh well. So we're gonna add these columns in the up migration. So these are instructions for how to change the existing database to add the things we want to add. And then we also add the opposite, so instructions to undo. That way we can undo the change, which is sometimes very helpful. All right, and then I need to hit the right key. There we go. And we just need to apply the migration, right? So I can just find the command. If I hit the right key, Control C, Control R, or no, Control. Why are things not working? Oh, I see. Keyboard is in the wrong mode. Okay, Control R. There we go. Migrate. Control R again. Migration run. Okay, there we go. Ooh, a wild Venmoth appears in chat. Okay, that's just a warning. So there we go. So running migration. Today's migration. Add silence detection info to stream. So that should have added the columns. So that's the database. Let's see here. If we... There we go. Then we need to change all of the rest of the code to add that column. Let's see if I can do that all before the break. Actually, nope, okay. I was hoping that maybe Copilot would be smart enough to add the right thing. But what is this? Silence detection. NCE detection. That one. And silence detection. Heading out to lunch. Nice. I want some lunch. What do we got? We got another hour before it'll be lunchtime. All right, what's the problem here? Oh yeah, so now we have to go over to here. Snooze. It's gonna go a little bit longer before the break so I can get this stuff done. Silent segments, that's not right. Oh, it is right. Oh, then this is wrong. It was silent segments. There we go. Yeah, so schema.rs is automatically generated by the diesel CLI, which is the thing that I was running in the terminal. So that's why these things are already here. Check. Okay, so we're done with those files. And then we go over here to structs.rs. And this is how we're translating kind of the internal representation to and from the database representation. So then we just gotta sync this all up. Let's see, can we control space? No. Silence detection task URL. There we go. Silent segments. Yep. Right, and then we're just missing this bit here. Silence detection task URL, and to do, yeah. At some point, I'll figure out how we can actually represent this as a vector, but that's fine. And there's still errors, because Stream Detail View also needs to have those new fields. Yeah, save. And then that part's done, and no more errors in this file. Ninja, don't worry about it. The amount of stuff that I'm not explaining here would be like 10 times the amount of stream. It's not something you should feel bad about not understanding. There's just so much going that's like backing what's going on here. But what I would really like to do is do more like tutorially kind of like intro stuff. It's just something that I don't have the time to do. It is not a game. This is for yeah, let's take a step back. So I have a README. I have a README that explains all. So this is a project called Glowing Telegram. And it's so basically I'm coding a tool for myself to manage all the local recordings of my streams, which is a little meta, right? But basically I record all the streams locally, and then I currently upload those to YouTube. Like I go into a video editor, I cut them up a little bit, not too much, and I would like to do more, do better. And so I want to like make a tool to make that all happen, to use AI to like auto summarize parts of the video, to generate the cut list for the video editor, to probably automate uploading to YouTube and filling in all the details and all that stuff. So there's a bunch of features I want to do with this. This is actually an open source project on GitHub at this link. There's also a link in the Discord to it in the coding channel. So this is basically me taking a bunch of different tools and technologies and jamming them all together to try to make something that will make it less tedious to do the getting stuff onto YouTube bit the way I want it. So that's